New developments tonight in the struggle to stop an Iranian hostage taker from coming to America as the ambassador to the United Nations. His name is Hamid Abutalebi. He was one of the students who grabbed the members of our embassy in Tehran back in 1979, holding 52 Americans for 444 days. We have been trying to get answers from the State Department about whether the administration will block this guy from coming. Watch this exchange.
Does the State Department have an update on the visa application of Hamid Abutalebi to be Iran's next ambassador to the United Nations?
No update. Obviously, we don't talk about visa cases individually. We've raised our serious concerns about this possible nomination with the government of Iran.
Numerous former hostages who were held for 444 days. You can understand their outrage. There's been numerous statements in the past 24 hours. Do you have any message to them?
Well, I said that it is extremely troubling to us.
Does the State Department view this as a, quote, slap to the face?
I'm not going to describe it that way. Obviously, it's troubling. We'll talk about this with the Iranians.
Is the State Department looking into exactly what his involvement may or may not have been in the hostage situation?
Well, the U.S. government is certainly looking into this case. And in terms of him, I just don't have anything further for you on that.
Iran ever apologized for its role in the 1979 hostage crisis?
I don't know.
Would you like to see an apology if this ambassador, Mr. Abutalebi, will go forward? Would you like to see an apology from the nation of Iran?
I'm not going to make predictions here.
Wow. All right. Texas Senator Ted Cruz just introduced a bill that would prevent terrorists from entering the United States as UN ambassadors. And he joins me now. Senator, good evening. Good to have you here.
Martha, it's great to join you.
What do you make of that exchange at the State Department?
You know, it's dismaying, and even more dismaying is this is yet another indication of just how radical, how extreme, how anti-American Iran is. That this is not an accident that they nominate and name an admitted terrorist, someone who participated in holding Americans hostage for 444 days, and they propose to send him as their ambassador to the UN to live in New York City and Manhattan. That's completely wrong, and it's designed to be a slap in the face.
That is the nature of the slap in the face question. I was just going to say, especially with our ongoing nuclear negotiations, supposedly, with Iran, if they were really serious about negotiating, do you think that they would send over this former terrorist to be representing them at the United Nations, someone who held 52 Americans for 444 days?
Right. No, of course not. And I would note that even calling him a former terrorist, the group that took Americans hostage still have his name and picture on their website. Yep. And you're right. This goes to the broader question about the naivete of the Obama administration, that they think they can engage in good faith negotiations with a nation whose leaders refer to Israel as a tumorous cancer that must be removed, who refer to Israel as the little Satan and America as the great Satan. A nation that right now is holding Pastor Saeed Abedini, an American, in prison simply for professing his Christian faith. This is not a good faith negotiating partner. What
would you do? You know, that's the question, because she's saying we're the host nation for the United Nations. You know, we are not the United Nations per se. We are the host nation for this entity. No doubt there have been a lot of people who floated in and out of those doors that a lot of other countries would rather not have there.
You know, there's something fundamentally different about an acknowledged terrorist. And right now, the current statute requires that in order to exclude someone on a visa, that they have to be a national security threat and they have to have committed espionage. So the legislation that I introduced in the Senate this week changes the and to an or. It doesn't require that they have committed espionage, because we don't have evidence that this person has done that. It simply says if they're a national security threat, we can deny their visa. And I would note, under the existing statute, if the Taliban in Afghanistan had sent Osama bin Laden as their ambassador to the UN, the argument would be we'd have to accept him into New York City. Now that's crazy. And I will tell you, Martha, I do have some hope that we're going to see bipartisan agreement on this. I was encouraged that Senator Chuck Schumer, a Democrat, and Senator Bob Menendez, another Democrat, have both been supportive of the effort. I am hopeful we will get all 100 senators to unanimously consent to pass this legislation to keep acknowledged terrorists out of the United States.